Hi, this is Tim from AK Endless Sports Cards. Almost 3 months ago, via episode 8, I prepared an order to go to PSA, predominantly of 86, 87 Fleer basketball, but with some other cards mixed in as well. And I made predictions about what I thought each one of those cards were going to grade, and I finally have the results. So this is going to be my first ever PSA grading reveal. So without any further ado, let's take a look at how I did. Okay, so again, if you haven't seen episode 8, give that a look. That was the episode where I was preparing these cards for grading and then made some predictions. So 28 cards total. I'm going to go ahead and start with the misses. I had 3 cards that missed. So with the 86, 87 Fleer, I was shooting for all 8s and 9s. I didn't really have any delusions of grandeur. I didn't really think that any of them were going to get 10s. Very difficult to get 10s from that particular year. But 8s and 9s I thought would be reasonable. I had a pretty high stack of commons and semi-stars that I went through to pick for this grading order. So I was pretty confident I was going to get 8s and 9s on many of these cards. I did miss on 3, and I'm not really sure why. So I'm going to go ahead and lead with those. So here are the 3 that I missed on. The first one is a Cedric Maxwell, PSA 7. I'm not really sure how I missed on this, to be honest with you. I know that there is a mark on the back, but I think I've got a couple that are 8s that had that as well. So I don't know. It's still a really nice card, but it got a 7. So is what it is. My second miss was a Terry Teagle. I'm kind of dumbfounded by this one as well. I'm just pretty surprised. The card overall looks really good. It's a little bit dark in spots on the back, so I don't know if, you know, this discoloration around the white borders, like there's some here and then there's some up here. Maybe that did it. I don't know though. The card looks real. The eye appeal on this card is actually really nice. But it got a 7, so that is what it is. And then the third is a Lewis Orr, PSA 7 as well. So a little bit bummed about these 3. I will upgrade these because I want the set to be in all 8s and 9s. And 7s just are not going to do it. So I'll probably bring those to the National, maybe look to trade those. Next, we have the cards that hit the target. So I have a total of 11 8s. Remember, I sent a total of 25 86, 87 Fleer cards. So 3 of them were PSA 7, 11 of them were 8s. So this is a Frank Johnson. I'll go kind of quick through these. Thurl Bailey. I find it really hard to tell the difference between these 8s and 7s, to be honest with you, but it is what it is. Artis Gilmore. Wayne Cooper. If you missed episode 8, I originally bought most of these in a set. I did pick up some singles also. That was back when they were $1 a piece or maybe $2 a piece. So Herb Williams 8. All of these will be going toward my set goal. Derek Smith 8. Cliff Robinson. Lafayette Fat Lever. These are really, you know, I'm biased because they're my cards, but these commons, especially in semi-stars, these are fantastic 8s. I mean, they look great. Alvin Robertson, excuse me. Dan Roundfield. And here is a shocker. So I sent in a Larry Bird. and it had chipping on the top edge. And quite honestly, I kind of thought it was going to get like maybe a 6 or a 7. I was bracing for a 6 or a 7, and it got an 8. I was really surprised. Like, if you look at this top edge, there's definitely some chipping up here, but I'm good with it because it got an 8, and you know, that becomes a card that's worth over $100. So super excited about that. So that was the shocker out of the first batch. This Larry Bird graded higher than I thought it was gonna. So I am thrilled that that's an 8, and I will hang on to that. That'll be a good addition to the set. So I got 3 7s, 11 8s, and 11 9s, which I'm super stoked about. So let's go through those 9s. Here's an Xavier McDaniel in a 9. James Buddha Edwards. These 9s are some fantastic looking cards. Larry Drew. I think I had a 9 of him in that lot that I just picked up as well. Adrian Dantley. Wayne Tree Rollins. Jim Paxson. Looks like there's a little bit of debris in there. I don't know if you can see that right there. It's like a hair or something like that in there. Jim Paxson 9. Hadn't really looked. I took him out of the box, and I knew what the grades were, but I hadn't looked at him that close. Terry Cummings. Jack Sigma. I was really stoked about this one because the Sigma was the one that looked like the ink was almost kind of like in different colors. Like, you could vaguely see a line here in the print, and you can see one over here as well. And it still got a 9. I have others like that that I did not want to send because I didn't know how they were going to grade that. But apparently that's not an issue because it got a 9. Calvin Nat. 9. Nice. Tom Chambers. And Mark Eaton. So really happy with these. You know, again, I sent 25 of them in. I got 11. I got 3 7s, I got 11 8s, and 11 9s. You know, and I was shooting for 8s and 9s. I really can't complain. I think overall the grades were fair. I'm not really sure what the issues were with the 7s, but you know, when you get 11 9s out of it, you can't really complain too much. So pretty happy with that order. And it's a chunk that's going to go toward my set. You know, like I said, I have the Jordan, so I've got the toughest card. And the other reason why I'm going to collect this set, one, again, because of the Jordan, that's a tough one. It's expensive. But the second piece is, you know, it's a set that's going to have value. I really like that it has so many star players in it. And it's something I can take my time on. It's not ultra rare. And so finding the cards is not going to be extremely difficult. And as I had mentioned on a previous video with that 2007 8 Topps Rip Card set, that one kind of got frustrating because the cards got really hard to find, and I'm still looking for an unripped Yao Ming, David Robinson, and Bill Walton. So if you happen to have that, please let me know. Last 3 cards in this submission, and they are not 86-87 Fleer. The first one is a Mac Jones Revolution Cubic PSA 10. I was pretty confident that this was going to get a 10. I think I said 9 or 10 when I was making predictions. It had a really, really minor issue somewhere. These cubics are numbered to 50. Hopefully, now that Mac Jones has an actual offensive coordinator, not named Matt Patricia, hopefully he'll have a rebound season with an actual offensive coordinator that kind of knows what he's doing. That's just my opinion. But we're going to find out. So Mac Jones, happy about that. PSA 10. I'll probably hang on to that. And then the last two cards, and these are big ones. Thrilled with these. So the first one is a tie-dye Aidan Hutchinson. PSA 10. On the video where I was making predictions, I was predicting a 9, but if the graders were having a bad day, it could get an 8. There seemed to be a minor surface issue, and then there seemed to be a very, very touch of wear on a corner on this one right here. I guess that really wasn't much of an issue, just a ever so slight touch. It doesn't matter now though, because it's a PSA 10. It's numbered to 25. I bought this raw off eBay. People often say that, well, you know, you can't get good cards raw on eBay because everybody grades and stuff. Not true. And this is an example of why that's not true. I am a Michigan fan. I'm also a fan of the Lions, and so this is just a fantastic card. This is a PC card for me. So it's a rare Aidan Hutchinson PSA 10. Thrilled with that final result. Again, I was thinking it could get a 9 or at worst an 8. And the last one, my prediction on this Trevor Lawrence was that it was going to be a 10. I see absolutely no flaws, and it is a PSA 10. This is a big card. It's a Revolution Cubic again. It's PSA 10, which that in and of itself, you know, makes it a couple $100 or so. But the cool part about this one is that this is the jersey number. So it's number 16 out of 50. So it's really cool. You know, I follow the Jaguars too. I lived in Jacksonville for a time, and I knew this one was going to get a 10. I just couldn't find any flaws on it. So just an outstanding card. Super pumped to add this to the collection. I was quite confident that this was going to get a 10. So it's a nice rare card of Trevor Lawrence. You know, these types of cards, you know, I might take them to the National, and because I'll be heading to the National in Chicago this year, I might take them with, you know, or potentially trade. But I would have to trade up, and I'm very reluctant to trade the Lawrence and the Aidan Hutchinson because those are cards I really probably can't replace. And so I'm perfectly content with keeping those in my PC as well. We'll see. You know, you can always take them to the National and bring them back with you. I'm good with that too. So, really excited overall with this grading return. I felt like the grades were very, very fair. You know, nice stack of 9s, nice stack of 8s, and a little bit confused as to why these others are 7s. Those are the only ones that were a little bit confusing to me. But for having this be my first PSA grading reveal, I'm quite happy with how this turned out. I think that it turned out really well. Met my goals and kind of exceeded my goals when it comes down to the Hutchinson, especially in the bird that's there on top. We're really happy with the service. Again, I use Wax Pack Nation. I go through a group submitter. I've just had nothing but good experience with them. They're phenomenal. And so, you know, if you don't want to send them yourselves because of minimums, or if you have a P.O. box and PSA won't send them to you, you know, maybe give them a look as a group submitter. I've been a happy customer, and I can't say enough about their customer service. They've been great. So that's my grading reveal. 3 months in the works here. It took a little bit longer than I anticipated to get them back, but still not a terrible turnaround, because from the time of that video, it took me a little while before I actually sent them as well. From the time I sent them to the time I got them back, a little bit over 2 months as far as a turnaround time. So I thought that was pretty fair as well. That was not too bad. So happy to have these back, and super pumped to start collecting this 86-87 Fleer set. I've got a good chunk now toward that. You know, I've got about 30 cards or so, somewhere in the low to mid 30s. And I think there's around 132 cards in the set. So I've got a lot left to collect, but you know, that's part of the fun of collecting, you know, putting sets together. And so pretty excited as to work on that set. Getting really excited for the National. I'll have a video coming up on some National related content as well. But hey, You know, it's beautiful outside. Got a fire going out there and a solo stove, and it's just a fantastic weather day here in the great state of Alaska. So remember, you know, whether you collect basketball, you know, football, baseball, soccer, tennis, non-sport, whatever the case may be, just remember that the opportunities for collecting sports cards are endless.